Welcome to the Empowerment Minute podcast. This podcast equips learning and development leaders, coaches, and leadership professionals with practical insights, tools, strategies, nuggets of wisdom to help them grow, lead effectively, and make greater impact in your workplace, life, and organization. I'm your host, Dr. Maureen Quende. I am the CEO and founder of EMK Learning Solutions, where we empower our senior leaders to develop their leadership pipeline and their skills so they can become more confident, build capacity, clarity, and influence. And we do that through executive leadership coaching, speaking, facilitation, and also consulting. So this month, the theme we're focusing on is leading forward without burnout, building capacity, connection, and mentorship for the second half of the year. I am still just in awe, where did this year go, right? We're now already in June, wow, it's really, the end of the year is really going to be here before we know it. So today, it's a good time for us to talk about the Midyear Check-In, and so most of us have been on the go since the beginning of the year, and we're starting to feel it in our bodies, right? As we enter this month, many families, schools, colleges, communities, they're all celebrating graduation season. Graduation is such a powerful milestone. It represents completion, growth, transition, and movement into a new season. When I think about graduation season, a few years ago, I remember when I earned my doctorate and I was all over the moon, and at the same time I was really exhausted. Today I had the privilege of celebrating my daughter graduate from 7th grade, and watching her take all the awards, and seeing how she worked hard throughout the year and being recognized really did make my heart melt, and really understand that graduation is really also about celebrating all the hard work that we've done. And so yes, May, June, those are graduation months, right? And so we normally think about graduation from the perspective of students, but as leaders, we also have that opportunity to graduate, right? Not from school, but from things that no longer serve us. So as we're looking at that mid-year check-in, we want to look at it from that perspective. We can graduate from overextending ourselves, carrying habits that no longer drain us, no longer serve us, right? Things that drain our focus. So we can graduate from measuring leadership by how much we can endure. And we can begin leading from a place of greater clarity, right? And sustainability. So now it brings us to the one goal of today's episode: to help you recognize where exhaustion may be affecting your leadership capacity, and choose one thing to graduate from before you move into the second half of the year. This middle of the year is really a powerful time for leaders because they have that opportunity to pause and check in with ourselves. Last week, I spent some time in New York for a retreat, but at the same time, it was a moment for me to just get a break and pause, reset, reflect on the areas in my leadership that were no longer serving me and how I could pivot. So now that we're no longer at the beginning of the year, and we're also not at the end of the year, when we're reflecting on what happened and we're in the middle can reveal a lot. When I think of just the word middle, right, it reminds me of what I had for lunch, my sandwich, right, the middle of a sandwich, right? Even though it is the sweetest part of a sandwich, you can also feel the pressure from both sides. It can reveal where we've gained momentum. It can reveal what's working. It can reveal what needs to be adjusted. It can also reveal where we're tired, stretched, distracted, burnout, operating on autopilot. So I want to share a scenario here, and hopefully you can relate to it. Imagine, when a leader enters this month with a full calendar, with so many unfinished priorities, you're wanting to achieve so much. And from the outside, it looks like, wow, look at her. She's so busy, right? She's in those meetings. She's doing, all those, solving problems for her team, checking in, keeping things moving. But internally, privately, she's just burnt out. She's exhausted. She doesn't even have white space to think. Not enough margin to even breathe, right? And so while she's still leading, she's not leading from capacity. She's leading from burnout, exhaustion. So maybe you recognize a part of yourself in this scenario. Maybe you're still producing results and you're thinking, well, at least I'm still going. But I can tell you it's not going to be for long, right? It's not going to be for long. That is why I want to encourage you to reflect on this midweek check-in. It really matters because the success on the outside doesn't always mean, sustainability on the inside. So your capacity also includes your time, but it also includes your energy, your focus, your bandwidth emotionally, your boundaries, right? How do you even take time to recover? So my question for you today is really not about how can I do more in the second half of the year. My question is really about what do I need to graduate from so I can build the leadership capacity I need for the second half of the year. Maybe it's a time for you to graduate from doing everything the same way, right? It's time for you to do something different. Building that capacity, you might want to ask this question: is this still working, or am I just winging it, doing it just because I'm used to doing it anyway? Maybe it's time for you to graduate from that busyness, right? Because we have a culture that rewards busyness. But busyness doesn't mean that you're not being burnt out. A packed calendar doesn't mean that you're being productive. So it could be time for you to take a break and reflect and think about graduating from this busy mode, this exhaustion mode, this autopilot mode, and take that pause, right? You maybe want to take that time to protect yourself from leadership. Identify the pattern, those habits, expectations that are draining you right now, and have a goal, right? After you ask yourself if it's sustainable, you want to be able to figure out what the next step would be. So what I'm really telling you to do is graduate from what you know no longer serves you and build that capacity for the year. I want to thank you for tuning in into the Empowerment Minutes podcast, this week's episode. I want to encourage you to share with another leader who might need this mid-year reset. This month, we'll continue exploring what it means to lead forward without burning out, building capacity, connection, and mentorship for the second half of the year. Until next time, keep learning, keep leading, and keep putting your dreams to flight, because you're not just leading into the second half of the year, you are building the capacity for your next level of leadership. This is Dr. Maureen Quende signing off. I'll see you same time next week. Bye-bye.